The amicable split story is a lie. And the proof is right here in Cardi B's divorce filing. You are seeing the official case filing from Fulton County, Georgia, right now. It's not a rumor, it's a receipt. The common belief, the story being pushed by some insiders, is that this is just two superstars, Cardi B and Offset, sadly growing apart. We've heard for years about their ups and downs, the cheating scandals, the breakups and the makeups. The expectation is that this time, they're just maturely closing the book, maybe even with a 50-50 split, co-parenting quietly. But that expectation is dead. The reality, buried in the cold legal language of this document, is far more calculated and aggressive. This isn't a mutual separation, it's a strategic legal strike. This filing isn't about two people drifting apart, it's about one person taking complete control. We pulled the documents, we mapped the timeline, and we looked at the PR playbook. And the reality is that Cardi B is not asking for a simple split. She is demanding primary, sole control custody of their children, and she's doing it in a way that suggests Offset was completely blindsided by this. So what is in this filing that Offset didn't want seen? Why is Cardi really escalating this from a private separation to a public legal war? And how does this one document completely shatter the amicable narrative the public was being fed? We are going to answer all three of those questions. This is the difference between the public relations spin and the hard, documented reality. Let's start with the timing and the language. The public expectation is that a celebrity divorce of this magnitude is planned for weeks, if not months. Lawyers coordinate, statements are drafted, and both sides agree on a rollout. That is not what happened here. According to reports from TMZ on September 15, 2020, the day the filing went public, Offset was completely blindsided by this. He allegedly had no idea Cardi was pulling the plug. This wasn't a coordinated press release, it was a legal summons. And the filing itself supports this narrative of a sudden, decisive action. The document, case number 2020-CV339029, uses language that is brutally final. It states the marriage is irretrievably broken. This is a standard legal term, but in this context, it's important. It means there's no debate, no counseling, no attempt to fix things. It's over. The filing continues, stating there are no prospects for a reconciliation. This language isn't just procedural, it's a message. It slams the door shut. When you combine irretrievably broken with the reports of Offset being unaware, the reality becomes clear. This wasn't a conversation, it was a conclusion. Cardi B, after what sources suggest was a final incident, made a unilateral decision. The expectation of a mutual split is the first casualty of this filing. The reality is that this is a preemptive strike. Why does this matter? Because it sets the stage for everything else. It shows Cardi is not in a collaborative mindset. She's in a defensive, protective, and offensive one. She's not asking for a divorce, she's declaring it. This filing wasn't a sad goodbye, it was a declaration of war. The blindsided detail is the key. It means Offset was on his back foot from the second this news broke. He didn't get to shape the narrative. He didn't get to release a joint statement. Cardi B, by filing first and filing hard, seized control of the entire story. And she didn't just file, she filed with demands that are anything but amicable. Which brings us to the most shocking part of this document. The public expectation from modern celebrity co-parents is joint custody. We all assume they'll do the 50-50 thing, split time, and post happy co-parenting photos on Instagram. That is what we are conditioned to expect. The most shocking part of this filing, the part that truly exposes the expectation versus reality, is Cardi B's demand for custody of their daughter, Culture, and their son, Wave. The document, which we had reviewed, explicitly states that Cardi is seeking primary physical custody as well as legal custody of the minor children. Let's be extremely clear about what this means. This is not 50-50, this is not joint. Primary physical custody means the children would live with her full time. Legal custody means she, and she alone, would have the legal right to make all major decisions for them. Their schooling, their healthcare, their travel, their religious upbringing, everything. This is not a request. It is a demand. By filing for primary and legal custody, Cardi is effectively telling the court and the world that Offset is not fit to share those responsibilities equally. This is the single most aggressive move you can make in a divorce filing. It's the nuclear option for celebrity parents. An amicable, friendly split always starts with a joint custody petition. This petition does the exact opposite. It draws a line in the sand and dares Offset to cross it. A legal analyst speaking to People magazine on September 16, 2020, noted how aggressive this move is, stating that seeking full legal custody is a high bar to clear and implies a very serious reason for a judge to strip one parent of their rights. This is the receipt Offset didn't want seen. It's not just a divorce, it's an allegation about his parenting. It forces him into a defensive posture where he must now fight in court to prove he is a fit father. The expectation of a conscious uncoupling is completely destroyed by this one line item. The reality is that this is a custody battle, and Cardi B fired the first and heaviest shot. Now, let's talk about the money. The public expectation is that Cardi B is a multimillionaire, a superstar in her own right. She's worth more than Offset. So the assumption is that she wouldn't need his money. She's independent. But the legal filing tells a different, more complex story. The reality is that this document is also a financial weapon. The petition filed on September 15, 2020, includes two very specific financial demands. First, Cardi is demanding that Offset pay child support. This is the reality that shatters the independent woman narrative. It's not that she needs the money to feed her kids, it's that she is legally establishing his financial obligation. It's a move of accountability. By demanding court-ordered child support, she prevents any informal, off-the-books arrangement. She's ensuring that his contribution is locked in, monitored by the court, and enforceable by law. She's taking away his ability to control the situation financially. But the second demand is even more of a power move. The filing states that she's demanding that Offset pay for her legal fees and the expenses of litigation. This is the real sting. She's essentially saying, you caused this. You are the reason this marriage is irretrievably broken, and you are going to pay for my lawyers to divorce you and take primary custody of our children. This is a punitive move. It reframes the entire financial dynamic. The expectation is that two rich people just have their teams handle it. The reality is that Cardi B is using the court to make Offset pay for the very process of his own legal defeat. This isn't about her wealth, it's about his responsibility. This filing isn't just about ending a marriage, it's about settling a score. It ensures that Offset feels the financial consequences of the split separate from any child support. It's a clear, cold, calculated strategy to gain leverage from the very beginning. So, why the aggression? Why the blindsided filing, the custody grab, and the financial demands? The public expectation is that this was years in the making and they just grew apart. But the timeline suggests a different reality. This wasn't a slow burn, it was an explosion. The reality is that this filing appears to be a direct and immediate reaction to a final straw, another infidelity rumor. Just weeks before the September filing, in August 2020, new rumors about Offset's infidelity began to circulate intensely. While rumors are always present, this particular round was gaining serious traction. Cardi, who had publicly forgiven him before, had also publicly stated she wouldn't tolerate it again. The timeline is too perfect to be a coincidence. Rumors explode in late August. Cardi files for divorce on September 15th. This isn't a couple who spent months in therapy deciding to split. This is a woman who, believing she was betrayed again, made a devastatingly fast decision. A source told People on September 15th that Cardi had finally had enough. This filing is the enough. The aggression, the primary custody, the legal fees isn't just legal strategy, it's personal. It's the reaction of someone who feels deeply betrayed and is now moving to protect her children and herself. The expectation is that this is just drama, The reality is that this document is the consequence of that drama. She is not just divorcing him because they don't get along, she's divorcing him and aiming for full control because she no longer trusts him. The filing is the ultimate receipt of that broken trust. It's the final straw immortalized in a legal document. She's not just leaving him, she's building a legal fortress around herself and her kids. And the infidelity rumors are the likely reason she felt she had to do. Finally, you cannot look at this filing without seeing the public relations strategy. The expectation is that celebrity divorces are messy and bad for the brand.
But the reality is that this filing, in its aggression, is a brilliant PR move for Cardi B. Think about the narrative it creates. Before this filing, Cardi was often painted as the one who kept taking him back, the one who looked weak or foolish for forgiving repeated cheating. The public perception was, why does she stay with him? This filing fundamentally flips that script. Instantly, she is no longer the victim, she is the protector. By demanding primary and legal custody, she frames herself as the responsible parent, the one taking decisive action to create a stable environment for her children. She is no longer Cardi, Offset's wife, she is Cardi B, the mother. This filing is a brand realignment. It puts Offset on the defense, not just legally, but in the courts of public opinion. He now has to prove he is a good father. He has to fight the narrative that she created with this one document. A public relations strategist would call this seizing the narrative. She didn't wait for him. She didn't release a joint statement. She used the power of the court system to make her statement for her. And that statement is, I'm in charge, I'm protecting my kids, and I'm done. The expectation is that this divorce hurts her brand. The reality, this filing may have been the single best career move she could make, cementing her image as a powerful, decisive woman who puts her family first. It's a legal document, but it's also the most effective press release of her career. So let's look back. The public was being sold the expectation of a sad, mutual, amicable split. But the reality, proven by the receipts, is a cold, strategic, and one-sided legal war. We asked what was in the filing Offset didn't want seen. The answer, a demand for primary and legal custody, painting him as an unequal parent. We asked why Cardi was really escalating this. The answer, a combination of a final trust-shattering betrayal, likely new infidelity, and a brilliant PR move to reclaim her own narrative. And we asked how this shatters the amicable story. The answer, by blindsiding Offset, demanding he pay her legal fees, and filing for custody in the most aggressive way possible. This was never about growing apart, it was about taking control. The ultimate takeaway here isn't just that they're divorcing, it's how Cardi B chose to do it. She used the legal system not just to end her marriage, but to redefine her public image, secure her children's future on her terms, and force Offset into a defensive crouch from which he would have to fight, both in court and in public. That is the difference between the expectation and the reality. Understanding this playbook, this strategy of using legal filings as a PR weapon, is the key to seeing the truth behind the headlines. This move by Cardi is just one example. To see how other stars have used this exact same playbook, check out our Fresh Celebrity Tea playlist. It's the essential next step to understanding the game.